Greetings to each and everyone. I am Al-Faheed together with my partner, Ms. Hannah Sofia Basingan in the next video. And for this, we will be discussing all about the parasitic flatworm infection known as fascioliasis. So for my part of the report, I'll be discussing the disease itself, what are its causative agents, which are the Fasciola hepatica and the gigantica and their difference, its various means of transmission, the incubation period, both its acute and chronic phase, and lastly, the clinical manifestations of this disease, which are the signs and symptoms. So, first and foremost, what is this disease? Well, it is a parasitic infection caused by the liver flukes of the genus Fasciola, mainly the Fasciola hepatica or the common liver fluke, and the Fasciola gigantica, which are a larger species found in mostly tropical regions. So this would affect both humans and animals, especially sheep, cattle, and other livestock. For example, here in the Philippines, we have the carabao, and it is considered as a neglected tropical disease by the World Health Organization. So what do you mean by neglected tropical disease? Well, these are diseases that are usually affecting poorer or rural communities, and these are diseases that doesn't cause much outbreaks, which is why they are not focused much in terms of healthcare, the the funding in terms of research, and of course the awareness to this disease. And since Fasciola species are mostly on agriculture related and does not cause outbreaks, they are not much focused on compared to more common diseases such as other roundworms or tapeworms, which is why it is considered as one of the neglected tropical diseases by the World Health Organization. For the global statistics here in fascioliasis, the estimated global prevalence according to a 2023 studies, approximately 4.5% of the entire human population is infected with fascioliasis, which translates to a total of 2.6 to 17 million people globally. And for local statistics, in 2019 studies, um, in Baybaylete and Lake Mainit area. These are the only research I can find because it's rare to find a study on fascioliasis now here, even in the local area. So for Baybaylete, approximately 63.3 of their carabaos or water buffaloes were found to be infected with Fasciola species, specifically the Fasciola gigantica. And in Lake Mainit area, the bovine infections there exhibited 100% prevalence for also Fasciola gigantica infections. And when they checked the stool samples of the bovines there, they found out that bovines in their rice fields would excrete approximately 162,700 Fasciola eggs per day, which would create a significant environmental contamination risk for both the livestock living there as well as the humans just working in the farm. Now, moving on to the causative agents, the as I said before, the causative agents for the fascioliasis are the two main types. First is Fasciola hepatica, the common liver fluke, which is responsible for majority of the human and animal infections worldwide, and it is most commonly found in temperate regions such as Europe, North America, parts of Asia, and South America. So what we mean by temperate countries are countries that can experience the four seasons. Then the other one is Fasciola gigantica, a larger species of liver fluke that is typically found in tropical regions such as in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. It can cause similar symptoms to hepatica, but its life cycle and host range, specifically the intermediate host, may vary slightly. So as you can see here on the side, the Fasciola hepatica is more cephalic in terms of its cone. So from its head, it just looks like head shape, and then it has two prominent shoulders. So from its head, it has shoulders right here, converging margins, likely due to the shape. Then of course smaller in size. Then compare that to the Fasciola gigantica, where it has less prominent shoulders, so más straight, parallel arm margins due to the size, and then, of course, larger in size compared sa hepatica. Then, wait, let's go back a bit. So, what if you're gonna ask how is it different in life cycle and host range? Well, it differs mostly dun sa kanilang intermediate host. So, for Fasciola hepatica, it's the different main difference is just the snail species in their intermediate host. This is likely due to the geographical difference since the hepatica is more in temperate regions, and then yung Fasciola gigantica is more on tropical regions. The snail species of their intermediate host would differ. So I found out that in Hepatica, they usually have the galba species of snails. Meanwhile, sa gigantica, their intermediate snail species is more on the limnae species. So they are bigger tropical snails compared sa snails ng Hepatica. Then for the mode of transmission, it is primarily transmitted through the ingestion of the infective larvae known as the metacercariae, which are encysted or enclosed within the aquatic plants or present in contaminated waters. So its mode of transmission would include the ingestion of metacercariae or the incest larvae from the contaminated raw or undercooked aquatic plants. And in the case of this picture, I think that's kangkong. And other examples could be yung pako or yung saluyot here in the Philippines. Aside from that, of course, we have drinking contaminated water containing the metacercariae. So, for example, metacercariae na siya in the plant, then just washed off by water somehow. If you ingest that contaminated water, of course, you would be infected. Another could be fecal contamination from infected animals and us, the humans, where we release the fasciola eggs into the environment. And then, for example, sa rice fields, then they go straight to the intermediate host, which are the snails, which brings us to the number 4, snails as the intermediate host. So snails here would release the cercariae that would insist on the vegetation and water, and that cycle would repeat itself with us ingesting the metacercariae or the insisted lava once more. For the modes of transmission, this time, how fascioliasis cannot be transmitted through, we have a lot. So, of course, first is person-to-person contact. Another is airborne transmission because mostly sa ano lang siya, infected aquatic plant. Vector-borne transmission, it cannot be transmitted through bugs such as mosquitoes, flies, and ticks. Eating infected meat, blood transfusion, sexual contact, and of course, touching contaminated water plants na hindi mo naman nilulunok or kinakain. Then we move on to the entire life cycle. So let's start here sa the pag-defecate ng infected hosts such as humans and livestock. So once they defecate, the embryonated eggs are passed in the fecal matter. Then once that fecal matter touches any body of water, just like dun sa ascariasis, when they touch the soil, they would here in the case of the Fasciola species, the eggs once in contact with water would become embryonated. So they would start to develop into here Meracidia, which would then hatch from the embryonated egg and would seek out the intermediate hosts, which in this case are the snails. So the snails would the Meracidia would penetrate the snail, the intermediate host, then start developing in the snail. So from sporocyst, maging ridae, then cercariae. Then, as you can see here, it grew an organ for motility, so it can freely swim across the water. So then, this would freely swim and insist or enclose itself upon the nearest aquatic vegetation. Let's just say na ito is kangkong. Then, at this point, it is now considered as metacercariae pag nasa aquatic plant na siya. And at that point, pag metacercariae na siya, this is considered as the most infective stage or infective stage of this species. Then pag na-ingest na siya ng kanyang mga hosts, the immediate hosts, the immature fluke would first exist or mag-pop out siya mula sa kanyang enclosure directly sa duodenum because we ingested it. penetrate to our intestinal wall, and then migrate to the liver parenchyma. And then once it tears through the liver tissues, it will now mature and reproduce eggs in the bile duct or biliary ducts. And once it reproduces here, the eggs would pass through our from bile ducts maging gallbladder to our digestive system until mapass out natin siya as fecal matter once more, and then the cycle would repeat itself once more. Then, for its incubation period, the fascioliasis refers. I divided this into days. This first one is day 0 to 3. Day 0 to 3, of course, you ingest the species, then it would penetrate your intestine. At day 4 to 14, this would migrate to your liver. Then, once it tears through at week 2 to 6, this is where hepatic tissue invasion would occur. Then, this entire section is the acute phase. Then, once you go to week 6 to 12 and beyond, this is the chronic phase. So, at week 6 to 12, the bile duct would be invaded, and uh, the fasciola species would mature. And then after week 12, this is where it would start to reproduce and then repeat the cycle. For the clinical manifestations, I've divided it into the two phases. First is the acute phase or the liver migration phase. So this includes up until 2 to 6 weeks. So this includes fever, right upper quadrant abdominal pain, and as you know sa ating health assessment lab, right upper quadrant includes the liver. And then hepatomegaly or enlarged liver, a way for our body to fight the infection is through inflammation. Nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea are included because, of course, liver is part of the digestive system. Fatigue, weight loss, and then lastly, yung skin rash, because some people would have allergic reactions as a way to fight the internal infection. But then we get to the chronic phase, which is the biliary phase. So this is week 6 to 12 and beyond. So mas severe ang manifestations pagdating dito sa phase na to. So first we have biliary colic, which is an intermittent or paiba-iba, pabalik-balik. So it could happen like 2 minutes, 1 hour, then mawala, then babalik na naman randomly. So it is intermittent right upper quadrant pain. So what kind of pain? Since this is biliary colic, it would affect your gallbladder and it would feel like you're having gallstones. Another is jaundice, which is yellowing of the eyes and skin. Of course, since your gallbladder is obstructed, there will be rise in bilirubin. And higher bilirubin in the blood would cause jaundice, and therefore your eyes would turn yellow, and as well as your skin. Intermittent fever, indigestion or dyspepsia, as I said before, connected sa digestive system. Anemia is included here because uh, the agent would actually eat through your tissues and even consume of the blood. And once this blood is consumed, of course, the body would think paubos ka na ng dugo, and of course anemia would set in. And lastly is obstructive symptoms. For example, is cholangitis or the inflammation of your bile ducts, or bile duct obstruction, but this is more on inflammation connected nung kanina sa biliary colic. So these are most of the symptoms sa chronic phase, and as you can see, they are much more severe compared dun sa acute phase. And that is all for my report. Stay safe and thank you for watching. Then watch the next video.